Hello everybody, I have been joined by Rich and Nick from Too Fat Lardies, and today we're going to be seeing what is the latest and greatest coming out of Too Fat Lardies. So, guys, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure to have you across. So what have you guys been up to since we last saw you?
Well, what a tanker.
Indeed.
And that's not a criticism. Nicholas, why don't you tell us about what we've been doing with What a Tanker?
We've been working hard for the last year on What a Tanker, which was an idea that we came up with in Christmas of 2016, I think it was, and we spent the last 12 months turning that into our latest release.
Whoa, 2016 through 2017, end of 2016 through 2017, start 2018. Okay, you're on right.
Yeah, that's right. So it's taken us a while to get there, but we've been spending that time putting the nuances in there, and of course, you always play test these things to death, so that goes through a system. And that's now out there, and we're taking orders for What a Tanker, which is hopefully a fast and fun-filled game of tank combat, World War II tank combat, that you can play in 28mm or 15mm or 10mm, whatever scale you have, and you don't need to buy new tanks, just use the ones you've already got.
Well, it's the greatest challenge of any game designer is to actually create a simple game. Because I'm sure you probably looked at What a Tanker and went, oh, but what if we added that? Does it need that, though?
That's absolutely right. You kind of think, okay, here's the basics.
Yeah.
And you think, we'll develop on this, we'll push this idea, we'll push that, we'll change this, we'll tweak this, we'll make it more clever. And then you get to the point where you think, actually, the original idea was nice and clean and tidy, and simplicity has a beauty all of its own, especially from a game design point of view. And you want to try and create a game which presents people with challenges which make them think. They've got to make decisions. That's the fun of a game. Do I drive down the road, or do I stop and aim and try and find? And that's exactly what we found that we had with the first version, if you like, of What a Tanker. And so adding on lots and lots of different layers of complexity seemed totally irrelevant, because the idea was that the game was already providing you with loads of decision making without doing that. So what we like to think is it's simple, but it's easy to learn but very difficult to master, and that's what gives games replayability.
Well, it's doing one thing which I have wanted to see on the tabletop for a very, very long time. Now, one of our site members, the fabulous Oriskany, James Johnson from over in the States, he talks about the 5 levels of wargaming. So you have your operational level where you're playing like hex and counter games, you have massive armies moving, and it starts working its way down. And I think the lowest I've really seen him go is the squad level. This goes a level deeper again, to where you're just focusing on the actions of a single vehicle, managing that vehicle in the most basic sense of this game. I'm sure you can add more vehicles in. But I love the idea that it shows you the stresses that the crew's going under and the stresses that the vehicle's being put under. So I have had the chance to play this. Myself and Sam got a game with the guys on. Lots of fun. We played the Germans, and well, you and Sam played the Brits.
Yeah, and you know, without any spoilers, you actually got the better of it at the end of the day. But the other side, you know, you say we go down to that base level. It's actually really, really more precise than that, because actually when you're engaged, there could be 4 tanks on the table, but my tank is engaged with the enemy tank. And actually, what the other tanks are doing doesn't matter to me, because I'm locked on you as my target.
Really focused.
You know, only out the corner of my eye am I seeing what's going on elsewhere. And something really major has to happen for me to shift my attention away from you and onto my other target.
Yeah, and having that narrow focus, it becomes resource management in a sense as well, because you're managing what your guys can do within a turn, and you know the way you have your mechanics set up for the actual start of the turn, where you can change who's going first, and what people are doing can change just depending on the stresses and how many dice you can throw into your actions. It's really, really cleverly designed.
I think one of the important things there as well is that once you somebody said to me, do you have rules in there for a radio net where all the tanks are talking to each other? And I said, well, actually, we thought about that and we wrote rules for it, and we thought, hold on a minute, while the guys are playing this game, they're having a conversation with each other, and that really reflects the real radio chatter that's going on. You know, for heaven's sake, that guy's over there, he's trying to take me on, draw his attention. Can you do something to help?
We had that during our game. I turned to you and said, Rich, give me a hand. I'm dying here.
And I said, no.
You can do it. No. I said, I need tank support. His reply, you can do it.
Yeah, that's right. But, but it does create that sort of relationship that you want to help the guys who are on your side, but at the same time, I don't want to die. So I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be made mincemeat just to save you.
Yeah, and that's even more easy to see when you've got one big tank versus perhaps three small tanks. So if you can imagine the classic encounter from the Fury film, where you've got three Shermans facing down one Tiger.
Yeah.
And actually, if you're the guy that he's pointing his gun at, he's the Tiger and he's pointing his gun at you, that's quite a scary place to be. If you're one of the guys that's going around with the edge to try and manoeuvre for a flank shot, you're quite relaxed about that. But if you're the one that he's focused on, boy, that's a sweaty place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it's and part of the fun of the game is that it replicates that historical feel, whilst at the same time being very much a fun game where
it's got a great arcade feel to it.
It really does, doesn't it? And it's funny actually, because one of the things that we've been getting a lot is some guys, running game shops saying, "Hey, we want to set up a ladder where people are playing this competitively, and are you interested in holding details centrally of how many kills people have got and can they be made official?" And you think, well, I haven't really thought about that, but the whole premise of the game is that you start off with a tank crew in a starter level tank, and then you've got different grades of tanks. And as you become more and more experienced, you get extra bonus cards to reflect the fact your tank crew are becoming a bit savvier, a bit wiser, a bit more clever. And then you get to a point where you become an ace, and you get the opportunity to take the next tank up. Now, if you're in a Panzer IV and the next tank up is a Panther, you're kind of thinking, wow, a better gun, bit more armour.
I need to learn how to run this.
But you've got to learn how to run that tank again. Or you can stay as an ace in a Panzer IV, which is going to give you lots of those bonus cards, but also incredible ability to control your hand of command dice and really shine on the table. But the concept of progressing through this career is something that's great for setting up some kind of competition with friends at a club, a dozen of you on a big table, let's say 10 foot by 6 foot, 6 of you on each side, and seeing who over the course of a weekend can get to become a tank ace, get those 5 kill rings. What a fantastic bit of fun for a club project.
Well, this brings me to something we've been talking about in Backstage's last while. So we have the Weekender show, the show we're on, and we also have our XLBS, which is a Backstage one, right?
Yep.
But the discussion we've been having is slow grow leagues. And I think this game would be perfect for a slow grow league because you can start out. Everybody has the option of the first set of tanks.
Yeah.
So you do like a set. Okay, here are the starting tanks for this number of people in the slow grow league, and here's the next set. Here's the next set, but they're locked off until you get to it.
Yeah.
And you can have people playing over like 2, 3, 4 weeks, slowly building up to see who's gonna stick with being an ace in the starter tank for maybe that bit longer. Are they gonna stay in the starter tank too long to where yes, you're an ace, but your tank's not good enough to do it no more.
That's right.
It would be very fun.
And that there's real decisions. When do I say, okay, I'll trade up. Now I'm ready to go, I'll trade up. Because once you get 5 kills, you get an option to trade up to the next level. Once you get to 10 kills, you get an option to jump a level. Yeah. But then, of course, you're starting again. And you've also got the situation that whilst you may get these bonus cards, they're not get out of jail free.
Some
people.
Of them are handy for that.
Some of them are handy, but they're not. But once you played them, you played them in that game, and you can still get a little rookie in a Sherman who's going to come along, and while you're focusing on his friend over there, he's going to drive around the outside and shoot you in the side armor. And that's the fact that the mightiest ace can be taken down by, it's like David and Goliath, I guess. There's always that story that everybody likes, the little guy beating the big guy.
Well, the Churchill in Tunisia.
Yeah.
And also, though, as you progress through the ladder, you can choose which arm do I want to go through. So we've got tank destroyers and tanks, and you can, each time you upgrade from one level to the next, you can say, well, am I going to stay in a turreted tank, or do I want to go to a tank destroyer? Because that's got some advantages. Maybe perhaps it's low profile. We know it's going to be good at aiming at people. That's one of the key things it does. So I can choose, if I want to go up to a level, do I want to stay as I am, or do I want to go for something that's a bit more interesting, a bit more varied, and that so I can get a bit of spiciness to it as I go through that ladder.
That starts to fit into sort of a World of Tanks feel. If you've seen the tech tree they have on it,
okay,
you'll go through your starting tanks and then you'll start to branch out into the specialized tank types. That could be so much fun. I know you guys love doing your pint-sized campaigns. One of these for Water Tanker with that kind of thing would be glorious.
Great fun, yeah, good idea. Never say never.
Yeah, never say never. But this is why I love the guys at Too Fat Lardies, because you guys focus on making fun rule sets and are not worried about the miniatures you're using or anything like that. It's just get your toys on the table and have a play.
Yeah, and in some ways you then say, okay, where are we now? Where does that take us next?
Yeah.
Because you have to follow the energy and say, well, okay, we've enjoyed that, and there's aspects of this which you think have got real mileage. How can we apply that into something else? And how does that grow into a different rule set or a new rule set or a new period? Or where's the energy go?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. It's why I love exploring things within historical, because I mean, like, there are some cool things. There are some absolutely crazy things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's the possibilities are limitless to visit and revisit places that you love and visit places on different levels of gaming. Now, let's talk about this year, because this year we've got What a Tanker coming. But I know you guys are always brewing new stuff, and I know you guys are always loving to go to shows and meet people. So, shows-wise, what are you guys looking at this year? Where are you going to be going?
No, we've got Salute. We've got, I wish I'd known. We've got Salute's a big one, obviously. We're going to be there. We're going to be having What a Tanker that people can come along and play and join in. Participation games is what we're all about. We don't want to stand there and go, look how wonderful this is. We want you guys to come and jump in.
Get the toys on.
We'll be rolling that all day on a kind of come and join in, almost like a King of the Ring basis, maybe, where you come and you play until you get blown up and then you disappear.
Disappear.
Probably the way we'll play it.
It'd be good fun. That's right.
Are you doing a special table for it?
Don't know. We've got to think about that. Whatever we can fit in the car. That's right. But it's going to be quite fairly varied. A bit Normandy-esque, some nice buildings, little village maybe. But the key thing there is to have something looking nice that the tanks can manoeuvre around. We're also going to be at Partisan. We're hoping to be at Colours at Newbury. We're going to be doing several Lardy days. I've been asked by Bristol Independent Gamers to go down there, and they want to kick off doing one of these What a Tanker competitions. So we're going to go down there for a weekend and run that. So that should be fun, and that will give us some great ideas as to how that's going to fit together. And maybe we can then coordinate things on a wider scale. But that should just be a jolly fun day. And we've got loads of other Lardy Games days coming up. We're up in Durham in a couple of weeks' time. We're up in Edinburgh, Evesham, all over the country, really.
Well, if people are wanting to find out where these are, as soon as jump onto your Facebook page, or
absolutely.
Facebook page is great. Just ask the question. I mean, we tweet a lot, so get onto Twitter. There's Too Fat Lardies on Dozy Bugger, and we will respond.
Very appropriately.
And invite us along. We'll come to you if we can, and if there's petrol in the car,
of course,
we can always see if we can get up to spread the love.
This is me going to be twisting your arm a little bit. I want to hear a little bit about what you guys are planning for the rest of the year, because I know you guys are always got new stuff bubbling.
Yeah, one of the big projects this year is doing the Chain of Command handbooks, because we really want to get them broken down. What we did was, when we published Chain of Command, we put a lot of free army lists online. So if you want to do, let's say, the Belgians in 1940, here we go, here's one Belgian list. But that was just like an infantry platoon. What we've done now is we've developed that. So the first handbook is going to be the Blitzkrieg in the West in 1940. And that is going to be focusing on the French, the Belgians, the British, the Germans, the Danes, and we're going to be putting together like 8, 9, 10 different lists for each nation. So all different types of troops, all different variations of support lists. We've got some very theatre-specific rules to reflect what's happening in that period, like the fifth column. And we are going to be producing that along with a whole bunch of scenarios to go in that, and that's going to be the first of those. Then we're going to be running them out over the course of this year and next year. So that's kind of a big project for us there. In terms of other rule sets, there's several things that we've got underway. We're certainly looking at Sharp Practice, which has been another really big set of rules for us.
It was one of my favourite ones that I played with you last time you were here.
We had some really nail-bitingly tight games of that, didn't we? Even though it didn't necessarily look like it with my luck. But who won? I can't remember, but let's move on swiftly.
He's still in therapy.
Yeah, so that's big. We're looking at producing a water-based supplement there for dealing with troops who, moving in boats and raft and landing, amphibious
like Watch on the Rhine kind of era?
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
Taking it,
Any era,
anything
really.
in boats, really. So anything about French Indian Wars, where you're moving guys around in canoes, or where you're cutting out small ships in harbour areas, that kind of thing, which kind of leads it into a bit of a piratey type atmosphere environment as well.
Yeah.
I do love the flexibility of the rules that you guys make, because for the chain of command, you can use that all the way through the war. It does everything you want it to do. Sharp practice, you can visit so many eras of history.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if you're going to be fit to do that with What a Tanker now. Because I would love to see you guys have a play with that.
It was funny when we were recording the Let's Play in the studio here. I'm looking around at the wall at all those walkers and all those kind of grab tanks and whatever, and I'm thinking, this would work,
Well, if you did a sci-fi one, I would play that. If you did a fantasy one, I would play that.
Well, of course, hedges are less of an obstacle if you're in a tank that's 4 feet off the ground, because you just hover above it.
You could add something very simple like, okay, this tank has some form of shield, this one has super heavy armor.
Yeah.
And that shield maybe act as cover. Just one little extra line and you're done. Although I would love to see What a Tanker perhaps done in the naval warfare style. That could be a lot of fun. So.
Wow, that's remarkable. We were talking about that on the flight over here, and he was sketching it out and saying, "What about this?" As we got in the way of the nice lady with the trolley of drinks.
She kept getting in the way, but I had on my phone there. Actually, we were thinking about how you could apply this to a naval war game setting,
or an aircraft game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were saying someone had suggested a name.
Somebody suggested we did First World War version called What.
DR9.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Which was an interesting idea.
Maybe. See, I'm going to be keeping an eye on you guys, because your rule systems are a lot of fun. I've fallen in love with Chain of Command, What a Tanker, and Sharp Practice. So I'm very curious to see where it goes in the future. Anyway, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure having you in the studio.
Thanks
Pleasure's
very
all
much.
ours.
You're
Nice to
always
see you.
welcome back whenever you have new games and new
Cheers.
stuff to show off.
Thank you.
Everybody, tell you what, get your comments in below. How about we get some suggestions out there for where you would like to see the guys from Too Fat Lardies go in this.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Keep it clean.
They're hardly going to request a boutique model line from you guys.
Well, we'll go anywhere, do anything.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get those comments in. We'll get back to the show.